We'll go ahead and get started. First question, Crystal Saltis.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
How are you?
I would like to ask you, what different do you expect to see tonight from your players, and how important is to set the tone from your defensive end against the Hawks?
Yeah, they're a very good offensive team. Obviously, Trae Young gets them started, and Capela with his rolls, Collins with his rolls, and they have a bunch of shooting on the perimeter. So our pick and roll defense is going to have to be on point. But for success in this game, it's going to be hard play. It's going to be keeping them off the free throw line and the defensive rebounds. There's a couple things with that. So keeping them off the free throw line allows us to rebound and run. And obviously the rebounding part allows us to get out and transition as well. And if we're keeping them off the free throw line, if they're on the free throw line, now we're playing against a set defense, and that's not great for us. So energy and effort always, but particularly the pick and roll defense, keeping them out the free throw line and the rebounding game.
Adam Spaulding.
Stephen, do you expect to have Christian and Danuel tonight?
Neither.
Are they getting to the point where maybe they'd be able to go tomorrow?
Yes, they are.
They will play tomorrow?
I'm not saying that they will be, but they're getting to the point where it's a possibility. Thank goodness.
Mark Berman.
Stephen, can you share your starting lineup tonight?
Yeah, we'll have the same starters as last game. KP, Vic, Sterling, Jae'Sean, and Justin.
Thank you.
Jonathan Fagan.
When you guys go against, or when anybody goes against players with the shooting range that Trae has or Steph Curry tomorrow, and there's more around the league now taking that kind of three, how does that impact a defense, not just defending them, but defending everybody else?
Yeah, it impacts it a lot because you pay so much attention to those guys as far as not allowing them to get to those shots, going over pick and rolls and not under as much. And when you go over, it compromises your defense because now the roll goes and you're having to help on the rolls and they're shooting all over the floor with both teams. So yeah, it makes it really tough when they have the ball handling skills, the passing skills, but most of all the shooting, because that's the thing that I guess in a way players tend to, I wouldn't say overreact, but that's the kind of thing that can kind of suck the life out of your defense if guys are just making deep three after deep three. So making sure that we're really kind of into the ball and doing our best to take away those threes, and while not compromising our defense, but also not having like the deflating feeling once a few of those go in.
Is that why we're seeing more and more players around the league with the green light to shoot from 30 feet? Not the demoralizing factor, but the way it changes the defense?
Yeah. I mean, it's a really tough thing to guard as they're coming up the floor. It's generally an open shot. You know, you're not picking these guys up at half court because they do have the quickness to kind of get downhill if you're pressuring all the way up. So yeah, it's a really hard thing, and it's a trend, like you're saying, it's a trend around the league, not just with those guys, but a lot of guys are shooting quick threes in transition, quick deep threes in transition, which are very, very hard to guard.
Thank you.
Adam Spaulding.
You brought up keeping them off the free throw line. That's been a bit of an issue since the break, especially with Trae. How do you avoid some of the tricks that he has to have that ability to draw fouls, especially with guys who haven't played against him before?
Yeah, it's really a hard thing. It's like you say, he has all the tricks and the stops and the change of speeds and, you know, a little bit of everything when it comes to drawing fouls. And that's the difference between his spectacular games and his good games are his ability to get to the free throw line. So you have to know kind of that it's coming. That's first and foremost. So we talked a lot about it and how he does it. And then you have to have the discipline to not kind of fall into those situations. And we're trying to make sure that we're doing things so that we won't be in those situations quite as much. But yeah, it's a tough deal, especially if you've never played against them before.
Kelly Crawl.
Hey, Coach. Kelly Kroll with Hawks TV. I know this is, as you well know, a homecoming for Clint Capela in a way, a reunion game for him. What did you see when you were in Dallas, now looking and scouting him with the Hawks, that has been a difference in his game with this group of guys?
Yeah, to be honest, like I haven't really seen much of a difference, maybe just because I've played him just 4 times a year and didn't have the luxury of seeing him every day, but he rolls so hard to the rim. And when you have passers like he had when he had James when he was here, or he had when he had Chris Paul when he was here, it really makes it easy on him and then easy on the group to have the dynamic roller and finisher at the rim. His offensive rebounding is right at the top of the league. I think he averages right around 5 offensive rebounds per game. So that's a game changer as well. But he's just playing hard, playing free, and has an elite guard who can give him the ball with shooting all around him. And it's very similar to what they had here. A bunch of shooters on the floor, 2 elite ball handling passers, and you know, his dynamic role. So I wouldn't necessarily say I've seen too much of a difference. It's just a different situation.
Thanks.
Ben DeBose.
Coach, you said yesterday that as far as Christian, you wanted to see how his ankle responded to sort of the increased workload you did at practice yesterday. I guess, how did it respond? And is it fairly positive, since it sounds like you're open to using him tomorrow?
Yeah, it's positive. It's moving in the right direction. It's he still feels some pain and stuff, and that's kind of where we got to figure out how much pain is too much pain, how much pain is normal pain, and then the kind of in shape part. You know, how close is he to game shape to play minutes in an NBA game without having to overtax himself. So those are all the questions that we're asking. But like I said, it's moving in a positive direction, and hopefully we'll have a game time decision tomorrow.
Mark Berman.
Stephen, do you have an update on John Wall, his situation, and David Nwaba?
Yeah, so John is still kind of dealing with the knee, and hopefully he will be back.
Lost him.
Sorry, we lost you there.
Am I still muted?
No, you're unmuted now.
Okay.
Can you start over, Stephen?
I was telling all my secrets when the mute came. So no, he should be back for Friday, hopefully. He's still recovering. He did a little bit in practice yesterday, and you know, it's just like a day-to-day thing. Hopefully, it doesn't look like it's going to be a long-term deal, but you know, he's dealing with it. So, David
Nwaba? Yeah.
Yeah. Nwaba is probably going to be out for quite a bit. He re-aggravated it 2 games ago, and came into my office and was like, yeah, it's not looking good. So I guess he's going to see the doctor and have another opinion or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of looking like how it was right before the All-Star break, to where surgery might be the next best option for him.
We'll take 2 more. Brian Bearfield.
Coach, I apologize if you answered this already. I got on the call late, but what is it going to be like going up against a coach like Nate McMillan with so much experience, and someone who was linked to, you know, maybe having that job or joining your coaching staff?
Yeah, it'll be great. I spoke to him a few times prior to him going to Atlanta, and he's always been someone that I've respected for a long time. He reminds me of my dad in a way, just as like a tough guy, former player, no nonsense, but just a really good basketball coach. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him out there and giving him a fist bump and then competing against him because he's a very good coach.
And last question, Jonathan Fagan.
Yeah, one more name on that list to check on. Ben McLemore available for you tonight?
He's a game time decision. He walked through, but we won't know until he actually does something on the floor. So if he plays, I think we'll have 9, and if he doesn't play, we'll have 8.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.